Welcome to the Bible Quiz and Trivia channel. Today, we're diving into the heroic tales of faith with 50 challenging questions about the remarkable figures whose trust in God marked them as heroes of the Bible. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video to support our content. After the quiz, share your score in the comments. We love seeing how well you do. Are you ready? Let's get started. Question 1. What was Abraham's original name before God changed it? A. Abram. B. Abel. C. Aaron. D. Amos. Answer A. Abram. God changed Abram's name to Abraham as a sign of the covenant to make him a father of many nations. Genesis 17:5. Question 2. What test of faith did God give Abraham involving his son Isaac? A. To send him away. B. To sacrifice him. C. To bless him. D. To teach him the laws. Answer B. To sacrifice him. God tested Abraham's faith by asking him to sacrifice his son Isaac on Mount Moriah, a test Abraham passed when God provided a ram as a substitute offering. Genesis 22:114. Question 3. Who is considered the strongest man in the Bible? A. David. B. Gideon. C. Samson. D. Saul. Answer C. Samson. Samson is known for his superhuman strength, granted by God, which he demonstrated in various feats such as tearing a lion apart with his bare hands and destroying the Philistine temple. Judges 14:5-6, 16:30. Question 4. What did Samson use to kill 1,000 Philistines? A. A sword. B. A spear. C. A jawbone of a donkey. D. A bow and arrow. Answers C. A jawbone of a donkey. Samson used the jawbone of a donkey to slay 1,000 Philistines, showcasing his incredible strength provided by God. Judges 15:15. Question 5. Who led the Israelites into the promised land after Moses died? A. Aaron. B. Joshua. C. Caleb. D. Eliezer. Answer B. Joshua. Joshua, the assistant of Moses, was chosen by God to lead the Israelites into the promised land after Moses' death. Joshua 1:1-2. Question 6. Who are the two spies who believed Israel could conquer the land of Canaan? A. Joshua and Caleb. B. Moses and Aaron. C. Eliezer and Ithamar. D. Nadab and Abihu. Answer A. Joshua and Caleb. Joshua and Caleb were the two spies out of 12 who brought back a positive report and believed that Israel could conquer the land of Canaan. Numbers 14:6-9. Question 7. What hero of faith was known for his wisdom? A. Samuel. B. Solomon. C. Saul. D. Seth. Answer B. Solomon. King Solomon was known for his wisdom, which he asked from God and used to lead Israel, as well as to judge difficult cases and write proverbs. 1 Kings 3-5-12, 1 Kings 4:29-34. Question 8. How many wives did King Solomon have? A. 700 wives. B. 300 wives. C. 100 wives. D. 500 wives. Answer A. 700 wives. King Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines, which led him astray in his later years. 1 Kings 11-3. Question 9. Who did God call from a burning bush? A. Moses. B. Aaron. C. Joshua. D. Samuel. Answer: A. Moses. God called Moses from a burning bush on Mount Horeb, where he commissioned him to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. Exodus 3-14. Question 10. What were the plagues that Moses summoned over Egypt? A. Locusts, frogs, and darkness. B. Fire, storms, and locusts. C. Blood, frogs, and locusts. D. Darkness, blood, and fire. Answer: C. Blood, frogs, and locusts. Among the 10 plagues Moses summoned over Egypt were turning the Nile to blood, frogs covering the land, and locusts devouring the crops. Exodus 7-11. Question 11. Who was thrown into a lion's den for continuing to pray to God despite a royal decree? A. Shadrach. B. Meshach. C. Abednego. D. Daniel. Answer: D. Daniel. Daniel was thrown into a lion's den for defying a royal decree that no one could pray to any god or human except to the king. God saved him by shutting the lions' mouths. Daniel 6. Question 12. What did Daniel do that showed his faith while in the lion's den? A. He prayed continuously. B. He sang praises. C. He preached to the lions. D. He slept. Answer: A. He prayed continuously. While in the lion's den, Daniel's faith was evident as he continued to pray to God, demonstrating his trust and devotion, which led to his miraculous deliverance. Daniel 6:10-23. Question 13. Who defeated a giant with a slingshot and a stone? A. Saul. B. David. C. Solomon. D. Jonathan. Answer: B. David. David defeated the Philistine giant Goliath with just a slingshot and a stone, showing his faith in God's protection and power. 1 Samuel 17:48-50. Question 14. What was King David's profession before he became king? A. Shepherd. B. Carpenter. C. Blacksmith. D. Farmer. Answer: A. Shepherd. David was a shepherd boy tending to his father's sheep before he was anointed as king of Israel, which symbolizes his pastoral and protective role over Israel. 1 Samuel 16:11-13. Question 15. Who was the queen who saved her people from genocide with her bravery? A. Ruth. B. Esther. C. Bathsheba. D. Deborah. Answer: B. Esther. Queen Esther bravely approached the king without being summoned, risking her life to save her people, the Jews, from a planned genocide by Haman. Esther 4:16, 7-3-6. Question 16. What was the name of Esther's cousin who raised her? A. Mordecai. B. Haman. C. Ahasuerus. D. Nehemiah. Answer: A. Mordecai. Mordecai, Esther's cousin, raised her as his own daughter after her parents died. He played a crucial role in guiding her actions as queen, which ultimately led to the saving of the Jewish people in Persia. Esther 2-7. Question 17. Who was the first apostle to be martyred for his faith? A. Peter. B. John. C. James. D. Andrew. Answer: C. James. James, the brother of John and one of the sons of Zebedee, was the first apostle recorded in the New Testament to be martyred for his faith, executed by the sword under King Herod's order. Acts 12-1-2. Question 18. Which apostle is known for doubting Jesus' resurrection until he saw Jesus with his own eyes? A. Peter. B. Thomas. C. Matthew. D. Bartholomew. Answer: B. Thomas. Thomas, also known as Doubting Thomas, initially doubted Jesus' resurrection until he could see and touch Jesus' wounds. This event highlights the theme of faith and belief. John 20:24-29. Question 19. Who walked on water with Jesus? A. John. B. Peter. C. James. D. Matthew. Answer: B. Peter. Peter walked on water with Jesus during a stormy night on the Sea of Galilee, although he began to sink when he doubted and became fearful, prompting Jesus to save him and admonish his lack of faith. Matthew 14:29-31. Question 20. Who was the disciple that Jesus loved? A. John. B. Peter. C. Matthew. D. Thomas. Answer: A. John. The disciple whom Jesus loved is traditionally identified as John, one of the sons of Zebedee, who is depicted in the Gospel of John as being especially close to Jesus during his ministry, John 13:23-25. Question 21. Who was transformed on the road to Damascus and became a great apostle? A. Stephen. B. Paul. C. Philip. D. Barnabas. Answer: B. Paul. Paul, formerly known as Saul, experienced a dramatic conversion on the road to Damascus when he encountered a vision of the risen Christ. This transformation led him to become one of the most influential apostles in spreading Christianity. Acts 9-119. Question 22. What was Paul's profession before becoming an apostle? A. Carpenter. B. Tent maker. C. Fisherman. D. Tax collector. Answer: B. Tent maker. Paul was a tent maker by trade, which he occasionally referenced and returned to during his missionary journeys as a way to support himself and not be a burden on the communities he ministered to. Acts 18-3. Question 23. Who was swallowed by a great fish and lived in its belly for 3 days? A. Jonah. B. Job. C. Daniel. D. Elijah. Answer: A. Jonah. Jonah was swallowed by a great fish sent by God after he tried to flee from God's command to go to Nineveh. He spent 3 days and nights in the belly of the fish before being vomited out, leading to his compliance with God's directive. Jonah 1:17-10. Question 24. What message did Jonah deliver to Nineveh? A. Destruction in 40 days. B. Blessing and prosperity. C. Release from captivity. D. A call to pilgrimage. Answer: A. Destruction in 40 days. Jonah's message to Nineveh was a warning of impending destruction in 40 days if the city did not repent. The Ninevites responded by repenting, and God spared the city. Jonah 3-4:10. Question 25. Who interpreted dreams for Pharaoh in Egypt? A. Joseph. B. Daniel. C. Solomon. D. David. Answer: A. Joseph. Joseph famously interpreted Pharaoh's dreams about the 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of famine, which led to his rise to become the second most powerful man in Egypt. Genesis 41-140. Question 26. What were the dreams that Joseph interpreted for Pharaoh? A. 7 fat cows and 7 lean cows. B. 7 thick stalks of grain and 7 thin stalks. C. Both A and B. D. None of the above. Answer C. Both A and B. Pharaoh's dreams involved 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 lean cows and 7 full ears of grain being swallowed by 7 thin, blighted ears, which Joseph interpreted as 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine. Genesis 41 to 1:7, 25 to 32. Question 27. Who was sold into slavery by his brothers? A. Moses. B. Joseph. C. Samuel. D. David. Answer B. Joseph. Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers due to their jealousy over their father Jacob's favoritism toward him and Joseph's prophetic dreams that implied his future rise above them. Genesis 37:28. Question 28. Who was the first person to see Jesus after his resurrection? A. Mary Magdalene. B. Peter. C. John. D. Thomas. Answer A. Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene was the first person to see Jesus after his resurrection, according to the Gospel of John, where she initially mistook him for the gardener until he called her by name. John 20:11-18. Question 29. Who was the oldest man in the Bible and how old did he live to be? A. Noah. B. Methuselah. C. Adam. D. Enoch. Answer B. Methuselah. Methuselah is recorded as the oldest man in the Bible, living to the age of 969 years. Genesis 5:27. Question 30. Who was turned into a pillar of salt for looking back at the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah? A. Lot's wife. B. Sarah. C. Hagar. D. Rebekah. Answer A. Lot's wife. Lot's wife was turned into a pillar of salt when she looked back at the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, despite being warned not to do so. Genesis 19:26. Question 31. Which judge of Israel made a vow to God that led to the sacrifice of his daughter? A. Samson. B. Gideon. C. Jephthah. D. Samuel. Answer C. Jephthah. Jephthah made a vow to God that if he was victorious in battle, he would sacrifice the first thing that came out of his house to meet him. Tragically, it was his daughter who came out to greet him. Judges 11:30-39. Question 32. What was the vow that Jephthah made? A. To offer a year of fasting. B. To dedicate his house to God. C. To sacrifice whatever came out of his house first. D. To build a temple. Answer C. To sacrifice whatever came out of his house first. Jephthah's vow was to offer as a burnt offering whatever first came out of his house to meet him upon his successful return from battle, leading to an unfortunate and tragic fulfillment when his daughter greeted him. Judges 11:31. Question 33. Who was the mother of Samuel the prophet? A. Ruth. B. Hannah. C. Deborah. D. Sarah. Answer B. Hannah. Hannah, deeply distressed by her inability to conceive, prayed fervently to God at the tabernacle in Shiloh, promising to dedicate her child to God's service. Her prayer was answered with the birth of Samuel. 1 Samuel 1:10-20. Question 34. What did Hannah pray for at the tabernacle in Shiloh? A. Victory in battle. B. A son. C. Wealth. D. The health of her husband. Answer B. A son. Hannah prayed for a child, specifically a son, promising to dedicate him to God as a Nazarite for all the days of his life. 1 Samuel 1:11. Question 35. Who was the prophet that anointed the first two kings of Israel? A. Nathan. B. Samuel. C. Elijah. D. Elisha. Answer B. Samuel. Samuel anointed both Saul and David, the first two kings of Israel, marking a significant transition from the period of the judges to the monarchy in Israelite history. 1 Samuel 10-1, 16, 12, 13. Question 36. Who was taken up to heaven in a whirlwind? A. Moses. B. Elijah. C. Enoch. D. Isaiah. Answer B. Elijah. Elijah was taken up to heaven in a whirlwind, witnessed by his successor Elisha, marking a dramatic and miraculous end to his prophetic ministry. 2 Kings 2:11. Question 37. What did Elisha request from Elijah before he was taken up to heaven? A. His cloak. B. A double portion of his spirit. C. His staff. D. His prophetic books. Answer B. A double portion of his spirit. Before Elijah was taken up to heaven, Elisha asked for a double portion of Elijah's spirit to fall upon him, a request that symbolized his desire to continue and expand upon Elijah's work. 2 Kings 2-9. Question 38. Who built the ark that saved humanity and animals from the flood? A. Noah. B. Adam. C. Seth. D. Methuselah. Answer A. Noah. Noah, commanded by God, built the ark that saved his family and representatives of all animal species from the flood, a divine judgment on the world's wickedness. Genesis 6:14-22. Question 39. How many days and nights did it rain during the flood? A. 40 days and 40 nights. B. 50 days and 50 nights. C. 30 days and 30 nights. D. 20 days and 20 nights. Answer A. 40 days and 40 nights. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights during the flood, a period during which the earth was flooded, destroying all life except for those on the ark. Genesis 7:12. Question 40. Who was the first musician mentioned in the Bible? A. David. B. Jubal. C. Asaph. D. Solomon. Answer B. Jubal. Jubal is described as the father of all who play the harp and flute, making him the first musician mentioned in the Bible. Genesis 4:21. Question 41. What are the 10 commandments that Moses received from God? A. Laws for sacrifice. B. Laws of the prophets. C. Moral and religious guidelines. D. Rules for kings. Answer C. Moral and religious guidelines. The 10 Commandments, received by Moses from God on Mount Sinai, are fundamental moral and religious guidelines that include prohibitions against idolatry, murder, theft, and adultery, among others. Exodus 20-117. Question 42. Who refused to bow to King Nebuchadnezzar's golden statue? A. Daniel. B. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. C. Mordecai. D. Esther. Answer B. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego refused to bow to Nebuchadnezzar's golden statue, an act of faith that led to their miraculous survival of the fiery furnace. Daniel 3:12-30. Question 43. What fiery test did Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego survive? A. A fiery chariot. B. A fiery pit. C. A fiery furnace. D. Fiery arrows. Answer. C. A fiery furnace. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego survived being thrown into a fiery furnace after refusing to worship Nebuchadnezzar's statue, saved by their faith in God. Daniel 3:23-27. Question 44. Who succeeded Elijah as prophet after he was taken up to heaven? A. Elisha. B. Micaiah. C. Hosea. D. Amos. Answer. A. Elisha. Elisha succeeded Elijah as the prophet in Israel after Elijah was taken up to heaven, having asked for and received a double portion of Elijah's spirit. 2 Kings 2-9-15. Question 45. What miracle did Elisha perform with the widow's oil? A. Turned it into wine. B. Multiplied it to pay debts. C. Made it heal the sick. D. Used it to anoint a king. Answer. B. Multiplied it to pay debts. Elisha performed a miracle for a widow by multiplying her small amount of oil so she could sell it to pay her debts and save her sons from being sold into slavery. 2 Kings 4-17. Question 46. Who was the prophet that confronted King David about his sin with Bathsheba? A. Samuel. B. Nathan. C. Gad. D. Jeremiah. Answer. B. Nathan. Nathan the prophet confronted King David about his sin with Bathsheba, using a parable to illustrate David's wrongdoing, which led to David's repentance. 2 Samuel 12-114. Question 47. What did Nathan the prophet tell King David as a consequence of his sin? A. His kingdom would prosper. B. He would lose his throne. C. The sword would never depart from his house. D. He would be exiled. Answers. C. The sword would never depart from his house. Nathan told King David that because of his sin, the sword would never depart from his house, predicting the turmoil and tragedy that would affect David's family. 2 Samuel 12:10. Question 48. Who killed 450 prophets of Baal at Mount Carmel? A. Elijah. B. Elisha. C. Samuel. D. Joshua. Answer. A. Elijah. Elijah killed 450 prophets of Baal at Mount Carmel after proving that the Lord was the true God in a dramatic confrontation that involved calling fire from heaven. 1 Kings 18:22-40. Question 49. What was Gideon's sign from God that he would save Israel from the Midianites? A. A burning bush. B. Dew on a fleece only. C. Parting of the river. D. An angel appearing. Answer. B. Dew on a fleece only. Gideon asked for a sign from God involving dew on a fleece only, and not on the ground around it, as confirmation that God would use him to save Israel from the Midianites. Judges 6:36-40. Question 50. What army did Gideon defeat, and with how many men? A. The Philistines with 300 men. B. The Amalekites with 500 men. C. The Midianites with 300 men. D. The Canaanites with 1,000 men. Answer. C. The Midianites with 300 men. Gideon defeated the Midianite army with only 300 men, following God's instructions to reduce the number of his troops to demonstrate that the victory was due to divine intervention, not human strength. Judges 7-2, 7:22.